Victorian Health Minister Jenny Mikakos resigns. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because the Health Minister from Victoria has resigned and she's taking potshots at Premier Dan Andrews. Now if anyone watched the, inquiry into the hotel debacle, and no one is to blame. No one is to blame. Memes are appearing. It wasn't me. I know nothing. It's just ludicrous. I can't even say I'm that angry at it at all because I expect nothing but incompetence from the political party that believes in such fantasies as the wage gap and actively discriminates against people and just has absolutely no idea. No idea. This is the default level of incompetence I expect from the new, the current Labour. This is just what I expect. Could you imagine what it would be like if we had them at a national level? And don't take this as an endorsement of LNP. They're not much better. It's just that their incompetence doesn't have the same level of, rampant ideological discrimination that Labour has right now. They seem to really have lost their way. They're too far in bed with the Greens. They really are. I mean, they want to abandon, abandon coal, abandon natural resources. Australia's a bloody quarry, guys, okay? That's it. We're a quarry. We're a quarry on the edge of the world that is funneling resources to more advanced nations. Get over yourself if you think Australia is ever going to be a manufacturing capital of the world. Yeah, maybe if our population increases. But let's have a look at this because this is the beginning of the infighting that's going to start happening here. And hopefully this will push for a political shift at the state level, but you have to understand this also has impacts on a national level, on the federal level. What goes on at a state will influence people's decision at a federal level of who they vote for too. And I mean, frankly, what's happening in Victoria, I'm hoping will influence how people vote here in Queensland, because they don't want the same mess to happen. That's how it is. It doesn't make sense. It isn't reasonable. It's not sensible. It's not based on fact, but that's how it is, guys. That's how it is. Before we go through this, I'll have a shot of coffee. And let me know if you're at all surprised by, all the blaming or blame avoidance that seems to be occurring in Victoria now, where no one is to blame. Everyone's good. I'm just turning on my noise reduction there in the background because the kids are going crazy. No one's to blame. I mean, seriously, with this whole who approved the security guards, I can see how it can get lost in a bureaucratic nightmare of a government. But isn't there a purchase order that needs to be signed? Don't you just need to follow up the chain of command? So let's have a look at this statement or resignation from the Health Minister that she shared on her Twitter. Since the start of this pandemic, I've worked every day with a single focus to protect Victorians from an unprecedented global public health threat in our lifetime. It has been a responsibility for which I've felt only a sense of urgency and resolve. I mean, this would explain the, sacrifices they are willing to make towards your personal liberties and freedoms, particularly in Victoria. Because they honestly believe that they are saving lives. They will take away your rights. They will lock you up. They will restrict your freedoms. They will destroy your businesses to save lives. And they're committed now. They're committed. This is their political legacy. This is the legacy of their career. This is the pinnacle of Dan Andrews' career. And they're going to stick with it. They can't pull back now. This is the problem. And they're people who, regardless of what happens, they'll be there supporting it, shouting for it, with the placards up, We need to look at the price of what we're paying for this. Is this political more than sense? I suspect it's we're seeing the mass hysteria. So I've been in awe of our health professionals saving lives every day, and I can never express my admiration of them enough. When the case number started to rise in June, I sought an explanation. On the 30th of June, I received a briefing on a genomic sequencing report. To say that I was shocked would be a massive understatement. The sacrifice and suffering of Victorians is something that I feel deeply. Well, it's something that you're a party to forcing them. You're putting that suffering onto people. You've got to realize that. That's the price you're paying for the greater good. As I said to the Board of Inquiry, I take responsibility for my department. The buck stops with me. With the benefit of hindsight, there are clear matters that my department should have briefed me on. Whether they would have changed the course of events, only the board and history can determine. Now, see, this is the thing, guys. This is the thing. We have our political leaders in office, but it really is the bureaucrats behind the scenes that are running it all, that are running the show. They're only giving people reports. Maybe they're giving selected information. Maybe they're holding stuff back. It's only one person. Can she be all over it? What about her aides? Can they be all over it? What if there's people who intentionally want to sabotage or get in the way? I don't know. But you have to understand that's why we need a shake-up of the public service as well. Will anyone be held accountable? Or is she just the scapegoat now and everyone will forget? For 3 months, I'd look forward to learning who made the fateful decision to use security guards. Victorians deserve to know who. Well, no one knows. The old meme, I know nothing. And that's kind of insulting to Hogan's Heroes. That was a great show. I have always put everything into my ministerial responsibilities. I've never wanted to leave a job unfinished, but in light of the Premier's statement to the Board of Inquiry and the fact there are elements in it that I strongly disagree with, I believe that I cannot continue to serve in his cabinet. Well, there you go. She's been chucked under the bus by Dictator Dan. Each to their own, you know? I've never shirked my responsibility for my department, but it is not my responsibility alone. No one's See, this is the problem, guys. This is collectivism. This is socialism. This is not my job. This is not my job. You know? Someone else's job. Someone else's responsibility. Everyone has responsibility. No one has accountability. I mean, come on. Seriously. I look forward to the Board of Inquiry's final report. Will it make any difference? Really? I'm disappointed that my integrity has sought to be undermined. Well, I know that my statement and evidence would have been uncomfortable for some. I've today written to the Governor of Victoria to resign my commission as a minister effective today. I'll also be resigning from the Parliament. I'm deeply sorry for the situation that Victorians find themselves in. In good conscience, I do not believe that my actions led to them. Well, that's the thing. People who commit atrocities through history always thought they're doing it for the greater good. This is why so many people are shocked and disgusted that people are just accepting authoritarian rule over them, that they're willing to accept it. You know, if you ever wondered what would I have done throughout history? You know, if things started happening, you know, maybe if I was in Germany in the 30s, what would I have done? Well, a lot of people know now what they would have done. They would have just gone along with the crowd, accepted it. That's a sad dose of reality there. And I don't think some people would even realize the risk there. I thank Victorians for the privilege of serving them. I thank the Premier, my colleagues, my loyal staff, the Labour Party, the broad Labour movement for their support. I will not be making any further public statements. So there we have it, everyone. The Health Minister from Victoria, she's resigned. Will there be, well, who will be contesting her seat? For Melbourne, for North Metropolitan, will there be a by-election? Will it be interest in a seat? Could the seat flip? I mean, it's Melbourne, so probably not. We'll have to see. What do you think, everyone? What do you think the outcome of all of this will be? Will this be a stain on Know Nothing Dan? Or do you think it will just, increase his support? We have a look at this article here from a few days ago. Liberal MPs dig at Daniel Andrews backfires sensationally. So one of the Victorian Premier's biggest critics invited his Facebook followers to send the state leaders a message, but it blew up in his face. A Victorian opposition MP's clever dig at Daniel Andrews' handling of the state's coronavirus outbreak backfired sensationally after his Facebook post was flooded with support for his rival. I mean, it's Facebook. There's some people that have a lot of time to be involved in it, and I don't blame James for turning this into an article. I mean, good on him for generating some money. Liberal MP Tim Smith invited the online community to send the state Labor's leader a message through a cheeky straw poll. Should Daniel Andrews resign, the Post asked, partnered with a dark and menacing edited photo of the Premier. Where's the photo? The clever catch from Mr. Smith was that all the reaction emojis from like to love and through to anger indicated a yes vote. But Andrews supporters noticed the MP had neglected to include the care emoji, a face hugging a love heart, and they exploded it with clicks. What's that? The care react meant we want to stay with Dan. One user wrote in the comments. After being online for a week, 45,000 out of the 53,000 votes were for care. I mean, isn't that a little concerning? I mean, I know it's online. I know it's not a real poll, but maybe what I'd argue that would show the demographic, the age group, that are more supportive of this. And we've seen a push towards socialism, a push towards left state dictating or state management of your life from the younger generations. From Brexit to the 2016 US election, through to our very own federal election last year, polls have continually failed to accurately gauge the feeling of electorates. Well, yeah. But this online straw poll certainly proves there are plenty who disagree with Mr. Smith. Mr. Andrews' controversial attempts to give power to health authorities to lock up high-risk coronavirus spreaders has faced a chorus of criticism from Victoria's top legal minds. This landed a glancing blow to the Premier's plan to use the Omnibus emergency measures bill through the upper house, though support throughout the community appears to be swinging in favour of the Labour leader and his government's strict lockdown policies. If that's true, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see if this all changes now with the health minister resigning and just the debacle coming out of the hotel process. A new case number remains low and steady. A CNN report declared Mr. Andrews' strict shut down the blueprint to contain the deadly coronavirus. Of course they would. I mean, it's CNN. They're a politically biased organisation. Is that fair to say? I think it is. Well, they're left-leaning. It said policymakers and critics were skeptical of the strict lockdown approach, originally adopted as the source of the pandemic's outbreaks in the China. Yeah, anyway. But we'll have to see. A news poll showed 62% of Victorian voters backed the Premier's handling of the health crisis, despite failures of hotel quarantine being responsible for much of the state's cases. Surprisingly, 61% of voters around Australia, including 57% of coalition voters, said the restrictions which had locked Victorians at home were appropriate. Why does that surprise anyone? The difference between the coalition and Labor is very small. You can't really argue that the coalition are more about individual freedom and responsibility. I'd say they're members in the party that are maybe groups or cohorts, but they've shifted to the left. The Overton window has shifted to the left, and most people, they want the state to take care of them. A lot of them do. So what do you think, everyone? Are you surprised at Jenny's resignation? Do you think they threw her under the bus? What do you think will happen in Victoria? Do you think Dan will get in next time? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time.